Thank you for joining today's session titled How to Cut Your VoIP Bill in Half, hosted by VoIP First Media, your go-to resource for making informed VoIP decisions. We encourage you to ask questions throughout the presentation by clicking on the question mark icon on the left-hand side of your screen. Please don't be shy. This session will be recorded and posted to the VoIPFirstMedia.com website following today's session. To adjust the layout of your screen, please click on the icon in the lower right-hand corner. I'd like to welcome our speakers today, Shai Berliner, VP of Sales with InfoFlo Solutions, and Tomer Berlinger, VP Technology with InfoFlo Solutions. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So just before we start, just a couple of words about our company. So our company name is InfoFlo Solutions. We're based in Toronto, Canada. We've been in business since 2004, so we've been around for a while. And currently we have about 16,000 customers worldwide. And we sell a lineup of products. One of them is VoIP. So let's get started. So the first topic that we want to discuss is what to look for in a VoIP provider. So when you're making your choice, what are the main things that you want to look at? So the first thing that you want to obviously look for is reliability. You want to make sure that whoever you're dealing with is a well-established company. You want to do your homework and read online reviews. This is how you get a good feel for what this provider is all about, what people are saying. This is something that's widely available online today. The other kind of like smaller items that you might want to look at is you might want to inquire about where their data center is physically located. Obviously, hosting in the US is a little bit more expensive, but if it's hosted somewhere that's offshore or overseas, there might be a little bit more of a delay in terms of the actual quality of the call. So you might want to just check that out. The other main point that we see in terms of reliability is you want to make sure that when you're signing up with a provider that there's actually somebody there that you can speak with. So being able to just pick up the phone and call somebody at the provider and just ask whatever you want to inquire about, that's a big thing. And that goes a long way towards reliability. Next item is you want to make sure that the provider has good uptime. Obviously, this is key. Now, most providers that you typically see today, they'll tell you that there's a 99.9% uptime guarantee, which is all great. But what you really want to ask about and what you really want to inquire about is what happens when the service goes down. And this is the critical moment where your business doesn't have any phone service. You want to inquire about failover policies. You want to inquire about mirrored configurations if those are available. You also want to look at disaster recovery procedures and make sure that the carrier and the provider have these in place so that you're not going to be the one that ends up just sitting there, looking for the phone to get to recover itself. The next item, it's a big one. This is security. And as everybody knows, and especially it's getting more and more media attention these days, ransomware is everywhere. It's everywhere that you look. It's everywhere that you think that it's not there, but it really is. So you want to make sure that your provider is paying attention to these things. You want to insist that they have two-factor authentication. And you just want to inquire about what their policies are and what their plans are for improving security over time. The next point is you want to make sure that your provider is able to provide you with no hassle number porting. And that means that when you're trying to port over your existing numbers, this is done effectively. Make sure that they're ported over without any service interruptions. And also make sure that your provider is able to provide additional services on the lines that you're porting, your main business lines like SMS, E911, which is the 911 service for VoIP, faxing, and any other services that you might have had before and you want to bring over. The last point is industry compliance. And this is kind of a little bit more of an unknown point, but there's a lot of change currently in the compliance area in terms of VoIP. There is some federal government regulations that were just put in place for the US, and these pertain mostly to spam. So how to control spam with SMS and how to control spam with VoIP in general. So this is the main things you want to look for or that you want to ask when you're inquiring in terms of going to a VoIP provider, starting out with them, or switching to somebody else. The next thing that we're going to cover is what to watch out for before you sign up with a VoIP provider. So there's a lot of gotchas that you might want to be careful about. Can we run the first poll? Is that okay? So you guys can answer these questions while I go through the points here. Now, the first thing that you want to watch out for is the per user costs. When you first look at per user costs, it looks cheap, but they add up really fast. And you know, obviously, the more users, the more expensive. The other thing is when you're trying to add advanced features, whether that's call recording or multiple menus and IVRs, things like that, you're gonna have to upgrade to the premium packages. And when you upgrade to premium packages, your price probably doubles. And we can just kind of give you an idea of what that looks like. This is off the website of RingCentral, and what you can see is that when you first look at the cost per user, it looks cheap, $29.99 per user. But if you want anything that is more than the base, it's gonna almost double your price. And obviously, if you want to go to the ultimate, it definitely will double your price. So this is one thing to look out for in terms of the per user costs. The next thing is upfront contract commitments and cancellation fees. So what you can see in the image above is that there's a price that's crossed out there. And that is because this $29.99 price that's showing, this is with an annual commitment. So normally VoIP carriers are going to want you to commit to some period of time. The base is about 12 months. And there are also going to be cancellation fees. So if you look closely, the actual price, if you want to go month to month, is higher. It's a consideration. And you might want to keep that in mind in terms when you're negotiating on it, when you're dealing with your provider. The next point is everybody that's in the VoIP business likes to throw this term around, which basically means like unlimited calls. Now the truth is that unlimited calls, it's rarely unlimited. There's always a catch, right? So it's always buried in a small print, and if you look closely, you'll find it. We'll give you an example of it here, but just kind of give you a heads up on that. And these unlimited calling, it applies to both inbound and outbound. So again, the same thing for inbound calling. Again, it's supposed to be unlimited according to the language that they present to you, but it's not. And this is a typical use cases when you're dealing with simultaneous inbound calls. You might think that it's unlimited, but if you look at the small print, and we're just showing you an example here, you can see how small this print is. Again, this is coming off the RingCentral support, and it's talking about shared lines. Shared lines means that multiple people are able to pick up the same line. And if you look really closely here on the bottom, it says that this has a limit of 4 simultaneous calls, inbound or outbound, which means that if there are, let's say, 2 inbound calls and 2 outbound calls, if somebody else calls you, they get a busy signal. And busy signal is very bad for business, as everybody knows. Now, tiered pricing, this can be a little bit tricky. Again, we just kind of spoke about it before, but base price means base feature set and minimum number of users. Now, and the premium bundles are usually considerably more expensive, as we've shown you before. Hidden charges. This is a big gotcha, but they just basically blow up your invoice with all kinds of fees, whether it's network fees, whether it's recovery fees, whether it's non-taxed regulatory fees. It's all over your invoice, and again, it adds up quickly. And the last thing that we want to look at is international calling. If you're looking to do international calling with VoIP, you just want to make sure that you ask for a rate card and that you check the rates carefully before you sign up. And just keep in mind that if you're trying to call international to cell phones, it's considerably more expensive than just calling landlines or traditional numbers. The next thing that we're going to look at is what's actually included in your VoIP package. So when you subscribe to a package, what's actually included? So the first thing that you want to do is, before you answer this question, you want to make your own list. You want to make your own list of features, and you want to make sure that you know exactly what you need before you ask them what's actually included. And again, Things to look out for here is that the premium bundles are usually considerably more expensive. We already saw that. You want to make sure that you're buying what you are going to use. You don't want to buy like one of the premium packages, but then only end up using, a couple of things in there that might be useful. So if you have no need for it, then you don't need it. Why pay for it? The other thing that you're going to want to ask when you're dealing with the package is, are the phones included? Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. Again, depending on the carrier, depending on your contract, depending on the length of the contract and the commitment. But you might want to ask if you actually own the phones or if they're just rentals. This is very, it's kind of like a known issue. Like, for example, when you're looking for an internet provider and they provide you with a router, in the small print, it actually says that if you cancel with us, you have to ship us back the router or we're going to bill you for it. So you just want to make sure that whether you own the phones or not, and this just applies to desk phones. So whether it's a conference phone or a desk phone, this is what's kind of in the umbrella of VoIP hardware. And the other thing that you might want to ask is if these are locked. So sometimes carriers or providers will lock the phone with firmware to their service. So if you ever want to move to another carrier, you might not be able to easily move the hardware along with it. The other thing that you might want to kind of know beforehand is how is the call workflow configured and modified? So that basically means when you want to set up the entire call workflow in terms of IVRs and digital receptionist and ring groups and voicemail to email and conferencing, how is that all configured? Is there like a central place that it's done? Do these changes take effect immediately? Does the provider have to make the changes on their end before they go live? These are just some things that you might want to look at, because if you do want to make changes, you want to make sure that they're getting kind of put into place as quickly as possible. Can my main number be shared among multiple users? So we showed you an example with a competitor of ours that you can, but this is just something that you might want to look at, because sometimes when you sign up with a VoIP provider, they might want to assign you individual direct dial numbers for each user. So you might want to just kind of make sure that you can actually take your main number, like your main office number, and have that shared with a bunch of users in terms of like a ring group or any kind of other configuration. Can we run the second poll, please? If there's any questions, we're happy to answer. Please write them down or put them on the interface here, and we'll be happy to answer them at the end. Okay, so I'll just continue, and you guys can answer the questions. Take your time. So the next thing that we want to kind of get into is how do we cut your VoIP bill in half? Because this is part of the presentation, and it's something that obviously speaks to a lot of the people that are listening here. So how do we actually do it? How do we cut your VoIP bill in half? So the first thing that we do is we cut your VoIP bill in half by leveraging our incredible technology, which is very different from what you normally see with other carriers. So our technology actually started out as a printed circuit board. It's an embedded hardware appliance with a single CPU core, and you can see this is the CPU over here, and about 128 megabytes of RAM. What we did is, this is the product that we sold before the days of the cloud. But now that cloud computing is so convenient and so cheap, we decided to take this product and actually port the software itself to the cloud. So what we did was, when we ported it to the cloud, we designed it so that we were able to harness the benefits of low-powered cloud VMs, which are very inexpensive. So these are the VMs that providers or data centers want to get rid of. It's something that is very inexpensive, but nobody uses them anymore because everybody just wants more memory, more resources, more SSD. So these are readily available and they're very inexpensive. So what we did is we kind of leveraged those two things together, and we have the optimized code that comes off of this circuit board and the inexpensive cloud computing power, and that basically equals unbeatable value. And what we do is we pass the savings that we save in hosting costs to our customers. So that's one way that we are able to save you money and cut your VoIP bill. The next point is that we don't use the traditional per user model. So we give you unlimited users. So you don't have to pay per user, just to make sure that everybody understands that. Unlimited users and zero gimmicks. So here's just a kind of like something that we can show in terms of how the ROI translates. And I'll just get the laser pointer here. So here's an example of Ring Central. Again, we just use them as an example, but there's many others on the market, and InfoFlo. And then how, when you actually factor in all the costs and when you're looking at the per user model that they use versus the unlimited extensions or users that we provide, what would the savings translate to? So you can see as an example here, this is a Ring Central base package. This is the Ring Central premium package. And you're talking about 10 users, which is, actually this should say users, but it's 10 users. And you can see here that when you translate that, it equals to, if you look at the base package of $29.99 times 10, which is $299.99. And if you look at the premium package, it's well over $400. If you take that same kind of principle and let's say that you're a business of 10 people, just as an example, you would need from us, you would just need 4 lines. And we'll just get into that in a minute. But the idea is that because we don't have a per user cost, our prices are much lower. And the translation in savings, it's usually about 50%. In this case, it's a little bit higher. But just to kind of get the point across is that the real cost of adding a user to these carriers, it's actually zero. So why are you guys actually paying for that? It should be that it's all built in. And what we do is we give you unlimited users, which means that there's no per user cost. And with us, the way it works is you pay per line, not per extension. So each line that we sell you comes bundled in with 5,000 inbound, outbound North American minutes that are actually shared between all the users. So it's very similar to a shared cell phone plan. So, you know, there's really no need to pay for any additional users. And you can see how that translates into here. So with us, you just need 4 lines, which are $29.99 each, times the 29 times the $29.99 here, and you can see the cost savings. So instead of $299, you're paying a lot less. You can't see it; it's a little bit small, but it's a considerable saving just because we don't have the per user model. We can kind of answer any questions that you have there, but this is one of the key differentiators between us and everybody else. We don't have a per user price model. Okay, continuing on. Okay, the other way that we save you money is there's no hidden costs. So with us, the $29.99 per line that we charge times the number of lines is the only line item you'll see on your invoice. And here's just an example. We're showing an example here where this is a customer that, just a sample invoice that we have from one of our customers. This is a smaller customer that came over to us from Vonage. And you can see that there's a lot of these additional, like for example, here this recovery fee is $21. And what happened here is that we were able to lower the price for this customer for exactly the same service and exactly the same kind of system from $157 per month. And their current bill is $60 a month. They just have the 2 lines. So you can see how that translates in terms of our pricing model. So we don't have a hidden fee section in our bill. So here's another example. You can see the no hidden fees just as another example. This is for a bigger customer. And this customer is somebody that came over to us from Comcast, which is a more like high-end kind of provider. And we're able to reduce this invoice from over $1,000 to just under $500. And again, you can see the hidden fees. That section is quite big here, and it comes out to like over $117. And again, we pass these savings on to our customers. The other way that we save money and that we are able to kind of cut your bill in half is that we build all the premium features into our package. So there's no tiered pricing. Everything is built into the menu. So anything that in terms of additional or extended features, what you're looking at, like call recording, voicemail to email, conferencing, call center, unlimited queues, advanced analytics, embedded forms, all these features that would qualify in the premium section of most other VoIP providers. With us, we just give it away. There's no tiered pricing. It's just one package, and everything is built in. Do we want to just run the other poll right now? Okay, I'll just continue. So just to kind of put it all together, why InfoFlo Talk? Like, why us as opposed to somebody else? So the first main point is that there's never a busy signal. So with us, we really give you unlimited inbound channels. So as long as it's within the 5,000 minutes that we spoke about, if you have 10 simultaneous calls coming in, but you actually only have one line with us, but you have the 5,000 bundled minutes, as long as you're within the 5,000 minutes, it's unlimited, true unlimited inbound channels. So if you have 10 calls coming in at the same time, it's not an issue. The other, the next item is the way that we deploy our system. It's basically a dedicated virtual machine per customer. So it's dedicated resources per customer. So there's nothing shared. And inherently, there's a lot of benefits to doing it like that or to deploying it like that. You don't have to worry about what happens when some other customer is getting hacked and that's affecting you because you happen to share the same database with them or the same SSD space or whatever that is. There's a lot of inherited benefits to deploying the virtual machine per customer. The next point is that with us, the pricing model is very simple. So there really isn't tiered pricing. We basically take the tiered pricing model and we just kind of chuck it out the window. And as we showed you before, all the enhanced features are built in. We're compatible with existing hardware. So if you have an existing, like a collection of VoIP phones, or if you have any kind of other VoIP hardware that you want to reuse, you can reuse it with us, and it's just a matter of reconfiguring as long as it's not locked by the carrier. And we have no contracts. So we don't try to lock the customer in because we actually give a lot of value. So there's no reason for customers to leave. So just kind of to put the whole thing in perspective, what we do in terms of the way that we sell our products is that we're here to level the playing field for SMBs in the VoIP space. And what that means is that if you look at big cloud vendors, they often overlook SMBs. They don't want to deal with the smaller customer. They just want to go toward the enterprise where the money is. And we're here to offer an alternative that is really a game changer. And you can see by the presentation that we're giving is that we're really here to help small businesses save money and to really allow them to get all the services that they want and pay a fair price for it. In terms of customer retention, we're at 98%. And again, that's because we give incredible value. So customers understand that, they appreciate that, and that's why they stay with us. And also customer service. When you call us, we actually pick up the phone. It's not like you're calling some call center somewhere else in the world and it has to go through a million people before actually somebody's able to help you. You call us, we're here. That's just the way that we work. And again, the same way that customers are committed to us, we're committed back to the customer. As we'll show you in the demo, we have our InfoFlo Talk portal, which allows you to run analytics, monitor calls, send SMS, listen to voicemail, all that stuff. Again, it's just something that is built into the base package, and it's something that every customer has access to, and it's really handy. And the final point is that we're actually a complete technology platform. So we don't just sell VoIP. We have a collection or a lineup of products that we sell. And I can just kind of list the products that we have. But the point is that it's a technology platform that's all from one vendor. So we have CRM, we have ERP, we have InfoFlo Talk, we have InfoFlo Pay, which is payment gateway and invoicing. product. We have InfoFlo Print, which is something specific to the printing industry. And we also have a new technology which is called InfoFlo One, which is kind of like the ability to build custom software without writing any code. It's a zero code type of environment where you can build any software that you want, any app that you want, basically by dragging and dropping. I think we want to run the last poll now. And what we'll do now is we'll just give you a quick demo of InfoFlo Talk. Yeah, just bear with us for 1 minute. Is this the screen? Yeah, I think it's this one. Can you guys see the screen? Just I think it should be okay. I'm currently sharing the screen. Okay. So go ahead.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Shai, VP of Sales here at InfoFlo, and I don't know if you see me. I might have to change this. Just do that. There. And okay, I think you guys can see my screen. So what I'll do is I'll just give you a quick run through of InfoFlo Talk. The two parts that I want to show are the customer front end interface, and then the back-end portal, which usually is managed by the admin. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm in InfoFlo Talk, the portal, the customer portal, and you can see here, this is the dashboard. So very simple, you can see your, what extensions or how many extensions you have, which extensions are live, which ones are busy, how many voicemails you have. You can see, for example, like recent calls, recent voicemails. And one that I want to show you is current calls. So with that, what you can do, pretty cool, is just going to call myself. And you can see here that the current call is happening. And what I can also do is from here, I have 3 options. These are the advanced features. I'm gonna answer my call. Sorry, just a second. And here I have 3 options. I can listen. So if I'm the owner of the company and I want to listen in on the call that the agent is having with the customer, I can do that. The other thing I can do is whisper. So if I want to get into the call live, as you can see here, and whisper something to the agent, I can. And with this, the customer on the other end wouldn't hear me. And then we also have barge. So if something's going wrong, the call isn't going well, I want to basically kick out the agent and just have a conversation with the customer. I can do that. The main thing that I want to show you here is these are advanced features, right? Tomer talked about this. These are like call center features. This is all built into our package. Everything that I'm showing here is all built into our package. There's no tiered pricing. It's just you pay for a line and you get all these features. Okay, so that is the dashboard. We also have a My Call section, which is just an overview of calls. So we looked at current calls. Oh, I will hang up this call now, and you'll see that it'll move off. Okay, so I can see current calls, inbound calls, outbound calls, and voicemails. Another cool thing that you can do here is, one, if I click on this action button, it'll call my desk phone. So you'll see here, don't know if you hear that, but I'll reject it. But nonetheless, this can call my desk phone, which allows me to call this person, and I just pick up the phone on my table. Another cool thing I can do is I can send an SMS. So if I want from here, I can send an SMS. The other option as well is I can click this SMS option up above, and I can send somebody a message. And you'll notice that some of these have green and red. Those that have green, what I can do is I can actually listen to the call. So if I go in here, okay, I can listen to the call. All right, so this is, and there's also a filter here if you want to see additional days. We also have a contact section. So this is like a mini contact management system, allows you to view any contacts you have, your company. If you don't have something already in place, you can use this as kind of a shared contact list that everybody that's using InfoFlo Talk can put their contacts in here. We have embedded forms. Tomer talked about this. What's nice about this is you can create an online form with our tool, and you can embed that form right onto your website, onto your landing page. And when someone fills out that form, that call will go directly to a ring group. So you can see here, if someone fills out the contact us form, you get called. Whoever's in the 604 ring group will get called. We talked about SMS, but just very quickly to show you again, you can see your SMS history here, okay? And you can view everything. If you've got multiple numbers, you can have multiple numbers and send from different numbers. We have queues, we've got an internal chat. So simple stuff, but all of these things are really important and just nice extra features to have. So if you want to do chat messaging with other people within the company, you can. And then the last thing I want to show you is search. So if you want, you can search. So if I just wanted to search by date range, for example, all calls, let's just keep it like this, from the 19th to today, just click submit. I can see all of my calls here. I can download this to a CSV. And then again, the same thing that I showed you before. I have these action buttons. I can call, I can listen to the recording, I can download it, it's all there. And then the last thing that I wanted to show you, so that's the front-end user interface that all users get. And the other thing that I want to show you, this is the back end. So this is really where you would configure everything. So typically, I would say this is more admin, maybe managers that would go in here. And very simple, like if you wanted to create an extension, create extensions. If you wanted to create inbound routes, which we'll talk about in a second, you can do that. You've got announcements and you've got a company directory. So you can set that up with your IVR. You have follow me's, you've got the IVR, which I mentioned, which is a digital receptionist. You can create call queues, ring groups. I skipped over announcements, but you can create an announcement and link that up with a time condition. So, if someone's calling you over the weekend, you set that time condition, then the announcement will play. You can also do conference calls. You can configure your own music on hold. Really, the main thing that we want to show you here is you can control the workflow. You're your own telephone company, right? You don't need some providers, and I'm not saying all, will not give you all this functionality for you to manage. You're basically forced to have to go and ask them to help you with this or to implement this. You've got full control over everything, and you can set up whatever call workflow you want. So you can see here, like, this is a number, this 0040. And if I want, I can say when someone calls this number, go to this extension. Or if someone calls this number, go to an IVR or go to a ring group. You have complete control. You don't have to rely on us to set these things up. It can be easily done by the customer. So kind of putting control back in your hands. So that's everything for the demo. If anyone has any questions, please let me know, and I'll end that here.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, please click on that question mark icon to submit your questions. And we actually have a few. Okay, gentlemen, how is your contact center features different from others like Five9?
I'll hold on a second. I'll pass this over to Tomer.
No worries.
So, I mean, there's a lot of different companies out there that give you a lot of different functionality. Everybody's a little bit different, right? It's like a car. There's so many different people that make cars, but at the end of the day, it just needs to be able to drive, to be able to get people from point A to point B. Our product, as I said before, it's designed for the SMB market. It has all the base features, or actually a lot of the extended features that everyone needs. And it's just something that meant to encompass a lot of the requirements in one bundle. And I'm sure that if you go and you actually try to compare one-to-one, it might be something that they have that we don't, and vice versa. But we give you all the basic functions that you need to run a call center.
Perfect. And how quickly can you activate service?
Normally we turn it around in 24 hours. So if you order it today, 1:30, you'll have it by tomorrow at 1:30, and everything will be set up. Normally what we do is if a customer is porting their numbers over to us from another carrier, we have like a process that we go through where we try to eliminate any downtime. We actually, make it almost zero. Actually, it is zero. What we do is we set up our system first for the customer before the number is ported over. We allow the customer to use the system for any outbound calling just to kind of test it out, make sure everything is working. And then we go through the number port process, filling out all the paperwork, doing all that stuff. And we also set up all the call workflow ahead of time so that when it's actually time for the porting, everything is done instantaneously, and it's just like flipping a switch. You just move from one carrier to another, and nothing changed.
And can you dial international numbers? Are those minutes included?
So the $29.99 comes with 5,000 North American minutes for inbound and outbound. International is sold separately. We have a rate sheet for that. Any customer that wants international, we give them the rate sheet, and then based on that, we kind of work out with the customer what's the best bundle that they want. But we're very flexible with that. We don't try to lock you into any kind of like high cost per month usages, and it's something that we do on a case by case basis. But yes, we obviously have all the international calling that can be enabled in the system.
Thank you. And what limitations do you have?
The limitations are that let's say, for instance, this is just kind of like a corner case, but if there's a customer that wants 500 extensions or 500 users, and they want to put all that into the base VM that we provide with the system, that's probably not going to work, just because there's going to be too much volume. So the limitation it's got to be within reason, right? So if you have like a small business and you're 5 users or 10 users and you want to add 5 more or 10 more, not a problem. It's obviously supported. But if you're like a one-line user and you want to add 500 other users, then we need to kind of upgrade the VM a little bit. There's a little bit extra charge in terms of the higher end virtual machines, but it all comes down to resources and memory and how many simultaneous calls you actually have at the same time.
Perfect. And are the calls encrypted?
So they are. Obviously, like there's a certificate that's involved, and actually it's optional. So if a customer wants to have the calls encrypted, we can do that. If they just want to have it kind of built in, then we can do that as well. Obviously, with encryption, there's a little bit of overhead. But in terms of the way that we manage security, it's very different from all the other big cloud providers that you find, just because we have this dedicated virtual machine. So in terms of security, we have a leg up in this kind of arena. And also every system that we deploy has built-in like its own firewall. Actually, it has 2 firewalls built in. We monitor it, 24/7, and it has the 2-factor authentication, which makes it very, very secure.
Excellent. And do you offer a free trial?
So we don't offer a free trial, and the main reason for that is because we used to have one, and then we would get calls from all kinds of strange places, people just signing up and then just, kind of like abusing the service. So we kind of let that go. But if it's a customer that's serious, we're happy to speak with them, we're happy to talk with them, and we'll work something out.
And do you include faxing?
So in terms of faxing, it's additional. What comes built in with the $29.99 package is 5,000 minutes, as I said, for inbound and outbound from North America. If you want a fax number, it's an additional $29.99. It's just another line, but that's a dedicated line for faxing. So yes, we do faxing. It's just another line.
Perfect. Do you provide 24/7 support?
I mean, the system is being monitored 24/7, but in terms of like support on the phone, that's business hours, Eastern Standard Time.
Excellent, thank you. And those are the only questions we had. Thank you so much, Shai and Tomer. And to the participants, thank you for joining today. And we'll be in touch regarding your lunch. We hope you enjoyed today's session and look forward to seeing you at the next event. You may disconnect and have a great day.
Thank you very much. You too. Have a great day.